live here at TaJTalk.com on a beautiful day in Pittsboro, North Carolina. We're with Randy Voller. We have Elaine Marshall, who's helped me with my microphone. And we have Miss Courtney Cho. I'm going to pass it off to them. We're having a great day. We're going to talk about some things. Brother Randy, won't you take it?
Sure. Randy Voller with TaJ. Elaine, we interviewed you a couple weeks ago. We want to ask you a question and just put it out to the people here. What does the Secretary of State's office do, and how do you enforce actions when they get in trouble?
Well, that's a great question because a lot of people don't really know, and they watch TV and they see the Secretary of State program or they read about national, and it's very, very different. It's a very old office. It's older than the state of North Carolina. We are a public record keeper for mostly business records. There are certain things that a company, people need to file with the state. They're not really the business transaction records, but they're like business identity records. If you want to be a corporation, a limited liability company, or a nonprofit corporation, you file your registration papers with us, and we create those entities. And in the case of a company coming from Virginia or Pennsylvania or somewhere, if they want to do business in North Carolina, they have to file a paper from the place where they got started to say that they're not a fraud, that they're in existence, and they file with us. Banks and other lenders file documents with us to the tune of 60,000 a month. There's only 20 business days in a month, so that'll tell you how many of those we're doing.
So you're very busy.
We're very busy. We're creating about 325 or so new business entities every business day. Also, all the stockbrokers and investment advisors are registered with us because we're all about promoting the economy, the infrastructure of the economy. Because if somebody starts a business, they may need some lending. So that lending paperwork in commercial loans gets filed with us. Or if they have investors, those investors have to have our permission to sell to the public. And our job is to prevent scams from the beginning. You know, there are plenty of mini Madoffs running around North Carolina and every other state, and scam artists who are trying to scam individuals. So if you have complaints in any of these areas, call us up or sosnc.gov and begin the complaint process. We also file trademarks. I have law enforcement staff that does trademark enforcement, whether it's not just a North Carolina mark, but any mark like a professional ball team or Nike or Microsoft or any of those kinds of companies, the high-end fashion companies that get knocked off. So we're a very diverse office, but yet all of it is there to support businesses out there or people who've been harmed by business.
So we had Attorney General Josh Stein earlier, and he talked about where the limits of his authority go, and there's a kind of an overlap with your office where they meet. So if someone has an issue with a nonprofit or a church, or there's some kind of mini Madoff, as you put it, what do they do and who do they go to?
Well, it sort of doesn't matter. If you come to the Attorney General's office and if it's in our exclusive jurisdiction, they will send it to us. And the same is true, and this happens more often than the other way, because he has such an array of authority over things like siding scams and gouging after hurricanes and that stuff that we don't have authority over. So we routinely, we know the right numbers, we transfer the calls, we give the people the appropriate internet addresses for all of those. So we try to make sure that the citizen gets to the right place. No matter, sometimes it's telephone bills or cable service. All of that is Attorney General. We're more in the financial area and the trademark area. And with the stockbrokers, that's exclusive jurisdiction. But we, you can go to your local sheriff. We work with them a lot. They know where the road forks to send to the right place. But if you happen to get it the wrong place, we will send it over to the right place.
So if someone's watching here today, how do they get in touch with your office if they feel like that they're having an issue with a nonprofit or a church or something like that?
Well, they would go to sosnc.gov, and if you scroll down a little bit, it'll say, check before you write one, and there's a little yellow check mark, and you click on either investments or charities, and so you click on charities in this case, and then follow through with the name and everything like that. I can give you lots of tips about their sound-alike folks. There are people who are flat out-and-out frauds. There are people who don't spend their money very wisely. We unfortunately do not have jurisdiction to get in and settle disputes with boards of directors. That comes to us a lot, and that has to be governed by the bylaws or going to court. The Attorney General really doesn't have any unless there's money that has been defrauded. So we can't fix every problem. If somebody's disgruntled by a company and their conduct, most of those go to the Attorney General, like overbilling or failing to take something off somebody's credit record. They would all go to the Attorney General.
Well, Elaine, we have a student here, Courtney Cho, who's actually with the School of Journalism at Chapel Hill. So she's going to ask you a question about young people, because of course there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the state that are starting businesses.
And we hope a lot of them are young people,
and
too.
they're very tech savvy,
Yeah.
and I know you've worked very hard to make your site easy and responsive, but there's still an intimidation factor in starting a business. So this is Courtney.
Hi there. So
Hi, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm well.
So my question, as a millennial and also as a senior about to graduate and
Oh,
enter the real world,
congratulations. Yeah.
thank you. What is your advice to millennials who are interested in perhaps entering the small business world? What do you think is important for us to know?
Well, I think what's important for you all to know is that undercapitalization of any business is a serious problem, whether you're a millennial or a well-seasoned individual. Number two, think out your business plan really well. And I think this is a challenge for millennials. It's a challenge because lenders or investors do not have the vision with related to technology and connectivity that you all do, because people would have said, Facebook? Well, what kind of investment would that be? Because they didn't understand it. So you've got to be very sharp at explaining your vision and how it's going to make money, other than a hope.
Right. Great. Thank you so much. That's all we have for today.
So here we are, TaJtalk.com. We'd like to thank Randy. We'd like to thank Elaine Marshall. We'd like to thank Courtney Cho. This is where we discuss, we define, we deliver. TaJtalk.com. We'll see you real soon. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.